Welcome to America Who Died Today. Here, we remember the stars who left their mark on show business and culture. Don't forget to watch the videos till the end to catch all the interesting facts about their lives and careers, and leave your comments. We value your thoughts. Let's celebrate those who may be gone but will always remain in our hearts. Stephen Frank Albini, born July 22, 1962 to May 7, 2024, was an American musician and sound engineer who had a significant influence on post-hardcore and noise rock. He founded and led bands such as Big Black, 1981 to 1987, Rape Man, 1987 to 1989, and Shellac, 1992 to 2024, and worked as a sound engineer on many acclaimed albums, including Pixies, Surfer Rosa, 1988, P.J. Harvey's, Rid of Me, and Nirvana's, In Utero, both 1993 year. Albini was born in Pasadena, California, but grew up in Missoula, Montana. As a teenager, having become acquainted with the work of the Ramones band, he immersed himself in punk culture and underground music. After earning a degree in journalism from Northwestern University in Illinois, he wrote for local magazines in Chicago. In 1981, he founded the band Big Black, which included Santiago Durano and Dave Riley. Big Black quickly gained popularity, releasing 2 albums and 4 EPs. In 1987, Albini formed the band Rape Man, which released 1 album and 1 EP in 1988, and then in 1992 founded Shellac with Bob Weston and Todd Traynor, with whom he released several albums, including At Action Park, 1994, and 1000 Hertz, 2000. The album, To All Trains, was released just 10 days before his death. After the breakup of Big Black, Albini became a sought-after sound engineer, rejecting the term producer. He has recorded several thousand albums in his career, collaborating with famous artists such as The Breeders, The Jesus Lizard, Page and Plant, Godspeed You!, Black Emperor, Joanna Nissoma, Cheap Trick and Slint. He refused royalties on the albums he worked on, preferring to charge for services. In 1997, he founded the Electrical Audio Recording Studio in Chicago, focused on recording live audio at an affordable price. Albini was known for his harsh and outspoken opinions, criticizing the local punk scene and the music industry, which he considered exploiting artists. He stuck to analog recording and praised the independence of music that had grown thanks to the internet. He also became known for creating provocative art as a reaction to people making compromises in art, although in the last years of his life he expressed regret for this thinking. Albini died of a heart attack in 2024. Albini was born in Pasadena, California, to Gina, née Martinelli, and Frank Addison Albini. His father was involved in wildfire research, and the family moved frequently before settling on the Missoula College campus in 1974. Albini was an Italian-American, part of his family came from the Piedmont region of northern Italy. He started playing bass guitar at a young age and got to know the Ramones at the age of 14 or 15. Albini claimed that it was their first album that inspired him to pursue a musical career. As a teenager, he played in bands such as Just Ducky in Montana, Small Irregular Pieces of Aluminum in Chicago and others. After graduating from high school, Albini moved to Evanston, Illinois, to study at the Medill School of Journalism at Northwestern University. He studied painting with Ed Paschke, whom he called an outstanding teacher. During this time, Albini was actively writing for local magazines such as Matter, and later Boston's Forced Exposure, covering the then-emerging punk scene. Albini founded the band Big Black in 1981 while in college and recorded their debut EP, Lungs, on Ruthless Records. He played all the instruments except the saxophone, which was performed by his friend John Bonin. After that, the band released several EPs and albums, including Atomizer, 1986, and Songs About Fucking, 1987. Big Black disbanded in 1987 after an active tour. From 1987 to 1989, Albini formed the band Rape Man, which released 1 album and several singles. Then, from 1992 until the end of his life, he founded the band Shellac, with which he released 6 studio albums. Unlike the traditional approach to recording, Albini adhered to the idea that a sound engineer should not impose his vision on artists, preferring to leave creative decisions to them. Albini rejected the producer's status, arguing that his job was to solve problems technically, not to interfere with the creative process. He preferred a fixed fee for his services and worked with any artists who approached him, regardless of their style. By the time of his death, he had recorded several thousand albums, including such well-known bands as Nirvana and P.J. Harvey, and his approach to recording was highly appreciated for his ability to capture the natural sound of performers. Albini was a proponent of analog recording, criticizing the use of digital formats, which he considered unreliable. His recording techniques focus on preserving the natural sound of musicians as much as possible, avoiding excessive sound processing. His style of work has become synonymous with raw and direct recordings, making him one of the most sought-after sound engineers of his generation. Albini has left a significant legacy in music and sound, and his work continues to inspire new artists and sound engineers. Eleanor Jessie Coppola, née Neil, May 4, 1936 to April 12, 2024, was an outstanding American documentary filmmaker, screenwriter and artist, known for her documentaries and as the wife of the famous director Francis Ford Coppola. They were married from 1963 until her death and had 3 children, John Carlo, Roman and Sophia. Coppola's most famous work is the documentary, Hearts of Darkness, A Filmmaker's Apocalypse, 1991, which became an important milestone in her career and drew attention to the complexities of making films. Her life began on May 4, 1936, in Los Angeles, California. Eleanor's father was a political cartoonist working for the Los Angeles Examiner newspaper and died when she was just 10 years old. After his death, she was raised by her mother, Delphine Neal, along with 2 brothers in Sunset Beach, California. Eleanor graduated from the University of California, Los Angeles, UCLA, with a degree in applied design, and was a member of the Alpha Chi Omega sorority. While working on the horror film Dementia 13, 1963, she met her future husband Francis Ford Coppola. At the time of their acquaintance, he was just starting his career as a director, and she was working as an artist's assistant. When Eleanor found out she was pregnant, they got married in Las Vegas on February 2, 1963. Coppola's filmography mainly consists of documentaries in which she has worked as a director, cinematographer, videographer and writer. In her work, she often explored the making of films, reflecting the emotional stress faced by actors and the film crew. In 1976, she began documenting the process of making the film Apocalypse Now, which led to the writing of her memoir Notes on the Making of Apocalypse Now, 1979. These notes cover the crises and stress experienced by the film crew during the making of the iconic film. The documentary, Hearts of Darkness, A Filmmaker's Apocalypse, which she co-authored with Fax Barr and George Hickenlooper, explores the difficulties the team faced in creating Apocalypse Now. The film was released in 1991 and won several awards, including an Emmy for Outstanding Achievement in Information Programming. After that, Eleanor made her feature film directorial debut with the romantic comedy Paris Can Wait, 2016, and then released a second feature film Love is Love is Love, in 2020. She has also written 2 books, including the memoir Notes on a Life, in which she shares experiences from her life, including the death of her eldest son John Carlo and the birth of her granddaughter. Eleanor Copa died on April 12, 2024 in Rutherford, California, at the age of 87. Francis Ford Coppola said that in 2010 she was diagnosed with thymoma. Despite the fact that her doctor offered to remove the tumor after 3 months of chemotherapy, she refused treatment, deciding that she wanted to do what she wanted. As a result, the tumor became too big and painful, and she didn't want to live anymore. Richard Serra, born on November 2, 1938, in San Francisco, California, and passing away on March 26, 2024, was a prominent American sculptor renowned for his large-scale abstract sculptures. His work, primarily associated with post-minimalism, redefined the relationship between the viewer and the artwork, emphasizing the material qualities of his creations and their interaction with the surrounding environment. Serra's sculptures are characterized by their massive scale and the way they challenge viewers' perceptions of space, often prompting a physical engagement as individuals navigate around or through them. Serra began his academic journey by studying English literature at the University of California, Berkeley, before switching to the visual arts. He graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in English Literature from the University of California, Santa Barbara, in 1961. During his time in Santa Barbara, he encountered influential muralists such as Rico Lebrun and Howard Warshaw, who significantly impacted his artistic development. To support himself, Serra worked in steel mills, where he developed a deep appreciation for industrial materials. He continued his education at Yale University, earning a Bachelor of Arts in Art History and a Master of Fine Arts in 1964. While in Paris on a Yale Fellowship, he formed a friendship with composer Philip Glass and explored Constantine Brancusi's studio, which further influenced his transition from painting to sculpture. In the mid-1960s, after relocating to New York City, Serra began to expand the definition of sculpture. His early experiments with unconventional materials like rubber, neon, and lead paved the way for his later large-scale steel works. Notable pieces such as To Lift, 1967, and 35 Feet of Lead Rolled Up, 1968, showcased his fascination with the physical properties of materials and their relationship to space. His monumental works, including Tilted Arc, 1981, which generated significant public controversy, reshaped how people interact with art in public spaces. Serra's early life was marked by artistic encouragement from his mother, Gladys, and a family background that influenced his creativity. His father, of Spanish descent, worked in various capacities, including as a pipe fitter in a shipyard. This exposure to industrial environments left a lasting impression on Serra's artistic vision. After completing his education, he returned to New York City in 1966 and began to create sculptures that defied traditional conventions of art. His work often relied on gravity and the natural properties of materials, leading to innovative creations that challenged viewers' expectations. Serra's foray into outdoor sculpture began with his first major outdoor works in Japan, where he studied Zen gardens and temples, inspiring his approach to space and landscape. He produced several notable landscape sculptures throughout the 1970s and beyond, including Pulitzer Peace, Stepped Elevation, 1970-71, and Shift, 1970-72, which were designed to harmonize with their natural surroundings and encourage viewers to engage with the landscape physically and temporally. One of Serra's hallmark approaches was the use of large-scale steel plates and forms, which allowed him to explore the interactions between art and space. His sculptures often invite viewers to walk around and through them, emphasizing the dynamic relationship between the observer and the artwork. Serra's ongoing experimentation with form, material, and sight has established him as one of the foremost figures in contemporary sculpture. In his personal life, Serra was married twice, first to artist Nancy Graves from 1965 to 1970, and later to Clara Wiregraff, with whom he remained until his passing. Serra's legacy is defined not only by his monumental works but also by his commitment to exploring the boundaries of art and its relationship with the physical world. His contributions to contemporary sculpture have left an indelible mark on the art world, ensuring his place as one of the most significant sculptors of his time. Abdul Kareem Duke Fakir, born on December 26, 1935, in Detroit, Michigan, rose from humble origins to become a defining voice in Motown as a founding member of the iconic group The Four Tops. The son of a factory worker father who had emigrated from what is now Bangladesh and an African-American mother from Sparta, Georgia, Fakir's early years were spent in Detroit's vibrant cultural landscape, a city that would shape his musical sensibilities and become the birthplace of one of Motown's most enduring groups. Growing up in Detroit's rich musical environment, he was surrounded by gospel and jazz influences, which would guide him toward a career in music from a young age. Fakir first encountered his future bandmate Levi Stubbs on the local football field, unaware that Stubbs was a talented singer. Their friendship deepened through mutual interests, particularly in music, as they bonded over impromptu sing-alongs at Fakir's sporting events. Eventually, they decided to form a group, inviting Lawrence Payton and Ronaldo "Obi" Benson to join. The quartet initially named themselves the Four Aims, a name chosen to reflect their ambition to reach great heights. However, at their first recording session with Chess Records in Chicago, they were advised to change it due to the similarity with the popular Ames Brothers group. Thus, they settled on the Four Tops, a nod to their aspiration of achieving stardom. The Four Tops found modest success as a local performing group before signing with Motown Records in 1963, marking the beginning of an extraordinary career that would see them become one of the most celebrated recording groups of the 1960s. Over the years, they produced 14 charted hits, making their mark with songs that would become classics, including "I Can't Help Myself," "Sugar Pie Honey Bunch," and "Reach Out I'll Be There." The group's impact on the music industry was such that Billboard ranked them as number 77 in their Top 100 Artists of All Time. Fakir remained an active member, participating in the group's tours until just before his passing, embodying the lifelong commitment he had made to the Four Tops. In 2022, Fakir published his memoir, "I'll Be There, My Life with the Four Tops," offering fans an inside look at his journey with the band. That same year, a musical based on his memoir premiered in Detroit, celebrating the group's legacy and Fakir's role in it. By the time of his death in 2024, Fakir was the last surviving original member of the Four Tops, and he took great care in overseeing the group's intellectual property, ensuring that its legacy would continue. Just before he passed, he named Michael Brock as his successor, entrusting him to carry on the Four Tops' storied history. On the personal front, Fakir lived in Detroit's Palmer Park neighborhood with his second wife, Piper Gibson, to whom he was married for 50 years. He was the father of 7 children, with one child predeceasing him, and he was a grandfather and great-grandfather. His life was grounded by his Detroit upbringing and his early experiences singing in church, which he believed significantly influenced his passion for music. Fakir nearly attended college with bandmate Ronaldo Benson on a scholarship, but when the Four Tops landed their first professional gig in Flint, Michigan, they chose to pursue music, setting aside their academic plans. Throughout his life, Fakir experienced moments of both serendipity and tragedy. In 1988, after a European tour, the Four Tops narrowly missed boarding Pan Am Flight 103, which later crashed over Lockerbie, Scotland, due to a terrorist bomb. This tragic event underscored the group's close bond and made their continued success even more poignant. Fakir maintained a lifelong friendship with Mary Wilson of the Supremes, and although they were briefly engaged in 1964, their demanding careers ultimately led them to separate. The two remained friends and frequently collaborated, performing together in various events. In 2023, Fakir faced financial difficulties, with the U.S. Treasury seeking $500,000 in unpaid taxes, but he continued to focus on his music and legacy. Fakir passed away on July 22, 2024, at 88, due to heart failure at his home in Detroit. His legacy endures through the timeless music of the Four Tops and his indelible contributions to Motown, a genre that redefined the American music landscape. Thank you for watching this video. May the memory of these outstanding people continue to inspire us all. We cannot change the course of time, but we can keep in mind their contribution and significance. If this video has affected you or you want to know more, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and leave a comment. Let's continue to share their stories and keep the memory of them together. See you soon, and remember that those we love never leave without a trace.